And welcome back everyone to Nighttime Developments, and this is actually part 8 of my 2025 FPS tutorial series. And in this video, finally, we're going to add the long-awaited shooting system to our FPS game, which is actually super advanced. So it has custom damage depending on where you actually hit the person, so body shot and headshot damage will vary, as well as the view model damage for every single weapon will be custom as well. So it is super easy to use and edit. Also, it is super easy to replicate since I actually provide you with all of the code, all of the steps. Should take you no longer than about like 20 minutes. This tutorial was heavily inspired by Xerdev, so go ahead and subscribe to his YouTube channel as well. And that's basically it. I also actually released a Discord Premium, which basically allows you to just download the complete game files instead of having to actually follow the whole tutorial. So if you want to do that, you can do that down below. And yeah, basically, here's the shooting system. Let's get into the video. Okay, let's go ahead and start off by simply adding a muzzle component to both of our view models, or to every single view model that you might have made if you have more than two. Basically, it's just going to be a little tiny invisible part next to the barrel of our gun where the bullets are going to fly out from. So to do that, I'm going to also, just to be safe, delete the old view models, just in case they don't match or they're old, and use the ones in my replicated storage view models folder, just because I know that these do work when the game runs perfectly, so I'll just use them to be safe. Now, I'm going to start off with the rifle, so what I'm going to do is open it up, click the little plus icon next to the rifle name, search for part, and just select this right here. You should see this rectangle pop up on your screen. Go ahead and rename it into muzzle. Make sure you spell it exactly like I have it here. All the capitals and non-capitals match because it is a capital sensitive script later on. So make sure it is spelled exactly like this, or I have it put bigger here just in case you can't see. Click enter. Scroll down to where you see size. Go ahead and put it as 0.1 by 0.1 by 0.1. When you click enter, you should see this tiny little square. Now, I want you to scroll up to where you see transparency. Set this to 1 because obviously you don't want this square to be visible. Now I want you to scroll to cast shadow, turn this off. Scroll down to can collide, turn that off. And make sure that anchored is off as well. You can leave these other ones on. Now, what I want you to do is take this and just place it like almost on the barrel. But also go into model and turn off this move restrainer. Go to the front and try to place it as center as possible. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect since the bullet's gonna fly out like really fast, but the closer you get it, then better. Okay, so that's good enough for me. Now, make sure you do this. Put it a bit out, not too far to where, obviously, if a person's standing here, he won't get hit, but like, it's a little bit away from the gun just because when you animate shooting, you don't want this to like hit anything else. So I'm just gonna leave it like this. It's perfect. Now, very important, pay attention. You have to rig this to your gun. If you don't, it will just fall off and then your bullets will be like on the ground. Go ahead to your Troy Defense AR, select it. Go to plugins, click Rig Edit Lite. I will have this link down below, but if you're this far in the series, you probably already have it. So click this, right? Also, just for safe practice, go to humanoid root part, select all of the roots and select, not the roots, joints. Click select reset joints. And then also do the same thing in main. You're just mostly doing this because you want all of your joints to still be attached. So click reset. Okay, now let's actually weld the muzzle. So what I want you to do is find the closest part to the muzzle of whatever gun you have. For me, that's going to be muzzle brake. So what I want you to do is click on the muzzle brake, then hold control on your keyboard, select muzzle. And you should see both of them just kind of turn bluish. And I want you to create a weld, not a joint, a weld, because you don't want them to be moving separately. You want them to be held together, so weld them. And now we're just going to do literally the same thing, but for the pistol, so exit the plugin. Also, if you want to save some time, just take the muzzle from your rifle, duplicate it, right? Take it and then move it into the pistol. So, come on. There we go. Put it into the pistol, right? And then just move it into the right spot. I think that's pretty good. And then don't forget to move it out a little bit. Okay, that's fine. Now, very important, don't forget to weld it as well. Make sure you rig this as well. So go to the pistol, click rig, get it light. Then I'm just going to reset the joints again just to be safe. So go ahead, reset joints, and then in the main as well. This and this. Okay, now the closest part to the muzzle for me in this pistol is obviously the muzzle brake again. So select muzzle brake first, then the muzzle, and then create a weld. And just to be sure, since we did copy and like duplicate the muzzle from the rifle, do make sure that in your rifle the muzzle is welded. You can just check it by going to muzzle brake and then seeing the muzzle weld there. Okay, now that you're done with the view models, you can go ahead and exit the plugin. And then, very important, pay attention. Don't forget to actually put the new models into the view models folder, because these two that you have set currently, they're not actual these ones, the other ones, they don't have the muzzle component because you didn't add it there. So take these, right? Go ahead, select and delete the old ones. Take the new ones, click duplicate, take the duplicates, put them into the view models. Okay, now you're done with the view models. Let's quickly fix a little bit of the code. So what I want you to do is go to your framework client, and you should have this script right here. And you know that this script works for you, so I want you to pay attention, since instead of pasting in parts like in some of my other videos, we're going to do the same thing we did in the part 7, which is we're going to swap the whole script, but then just make sure that our like values and gun names, if you change, then you do match. So what I want you to do is open up the starter player scripts. You have your framework client, right? I want you to go ahead and click duplicate, and then I want you to name this duplicated file, literally just type in old. This doesn't matter because you're going to end up deleting it anyway. And then make sure to actually click and open it, and then move them side by side. So what you have is your actual working client code, and then the old, which you're just going to compare against. The reason I'm doing this is if you go into the description below this video and click the Discord link, or you might already be in my Discord server. So you're going to go to FPS 2025 video 8 shooting damage system. And if you see right here, it says framework client.lua, go ahead and open it up. And then from the top to all the way down, copy the whole thing. Make sure to not miss this and at the very end, because some people actually like select it to this one and not this one, and then it doesn't work. So copy that. Back to the game. Make sure you're in the normal client, not the old. Go ahead, take it, delete, and then paste in the one from the Discord server. It should be about 289 lines exactly. So the reason why we made that old one, remember, is because just in case you use different guns than me, you spell them differently, or you change some of like the bobbing or sprint values, I want you to match them against your working script. So what I want you to do is, for example, right, let's say you used an AK to do your view models instead of my Troy Defense AR, right? you would go to your working script, or in your view models, right? In your view models, you'd match this name in the new script. So just in case whatever gun you used, make sure the name of your gun is actually in the new script on these lines here and these lines here. Make sure they match. Also, very important, if you change the walking speed or the sprinting speed, anything different from what I've made in my tutorial. So let's say you wanted to do like 7 instead of 17, you did 15 or 30, right? In your character script, which I believe is in character scripts, right? Open character. You have your walk speed and sprint speed. Make sure these here actually match the new script that you pasted in. Otherwise, your bobbing won't work. So like your gun running, shaking, and whatever bobbing, it will not work if these numbers don't match. Now, if they do, good job. Go ahead and get rid of the framework old. So whatever that old one is, go ahead and delete. Just make sure that you do actually delete the old and not the new. So you're done with the server client. What I want you to do now is go back to the Discord. Go ahead, open up the framework server, server.lua. Go ahead and select the whole thing once again. In your game, go to your framework server code. Go ahead, select the whole thing, delete, and paste in the new one. As you might notice, this one is way longer than the old one, just because I did all of this shooting this time on the server, since, well, bullets have to fly for everybody and not just you on the client side. And I will tell you how to edit this a little bit later after we actually finish the system, so stick around until the actual very end, where I explain how you can make like custom damage, change the bullet color or whatever. But yeah, that's basically what we're going to take care of later. But you're done with the server now. And for the last part, I want you to go to the module additions. And literally, it's just these two lines. So what I want you to do is copy. But pay attention where you paste these. And make sure you do it for both of your view models, or however many view models you have. In your module scripts, go ahead and open up, let's say, the rifle first. Make sure you do this right. Go to line 15. Click enter twice and then paste. Basically, here you have damage and headshot. Damage is the damage that's applied to everywhere. If you wanted to make custom ones for like arms and legs, I could show you how to do that later for like customs, but for now we just have two values. We have one damage for like body, arms, legs, and then we have separate for headshot. And whatever you want them to be, you can just edit them. So let's say you want a headshot to be 100, you would just write 100. Pretty simple. Now for the pistol, we're going to do pretty much the same thing. So go to line 15, click enter twice, click paste. But I would recommend setting the damage for the pistol lower, which is pretty self-explanatory why, but let's do like 20, and then headshot, let's do 40. Doesn't really matter what you put, it's just whatever you like more. Okay, so your shooting system is actually fully complete. It is done, it should work. But before we test it, please actually watch the video to the very end. I'm going to spend another 2-3 minutes after testing it explaining how it works and how you can actually edit it. So please actually pay attention, because that part is going to be important for your game. So in order to test our shooting system, what we're going to do first is we're going to go to the avatar tab, rig builder, and spawn in a simple block rig. And then just click play. Now, as you can see, the rig spawns in. If you shoot, there's going to be bullets coming out for both of your rig models. And then if you open up the output at the very first time you spawn in, right, you might see one error like this. This is normal. The reason this actually happens is because when you fire a gun and it hits nothing, for some reason, for the very first time, the game actually can't recognize you shooting a player. So that's why it does this error. I will fix it later on, but it doesn't affect anything. And then if you do clear it and then just go ahead and restart the game, it will never show up again. So you can go ahead and just resume playing. Now let's actually test the system. So as you might remember, I've set the rifle to body damage of 25. So what I'm going to do is in workspace, find wherever the rig is, this one, right? Go to humanoid, scroll down, and you should see health right here, right? Now, if I shoot him, let's say in the body, as you can see in the health bar, now it's at 75 because I did 25 units of damage, and then if I shoot him in the head, that should be 50, and 50 got subtracted, so he has 25 health left. So our damage works perfectly, and then if I shoot him one more time, he will die and break into pieces. So yeah, that's how your shooting system works. It's pretty simple. Once again, there is no errors in the output as long as you clear it the very first time, and we will figure it out later, but you are done. Your shooting perfectly works, and then please stick around for the next 2 minutes where I actually explain how the system works. Basically, when you click fire on your client script, it calls on a replicated storage event shoot. So on the server, it runs a shoot event, which collects a bunch of values, and then on the server, this is the actual shooting part. This is where the bullet becomes real and shoots at players. Has all the player, muzzle position, mouse position, damage, and headshot values stored in it. When you fire, right, as you might remember, there's basically the fire sound, animation plays, but then a bullet is being created in the script. So physically in the workspace right now, we don't have any parts named bullet. There's nothing that's bullet that exists. We create it all through the script, and here's how that works. There creates a part which we call a bullet, which has anchored off and can collide off, which allows it to fly. The reason can collides off because I don't want it to ricochet off players and bounce around. If you do want that to happen, you would just write true here. Then the size of this part is 0.1 by 0.1 by 1, which makes it into like a straw-shaped object. Then it gets spawned on the muzzle position, which is the part we created in the beginning of this video, and then it looks for the mouse position, which for first-person shooters is obviously in the middle looking forward, which is where the bullet will need to fly. Then its material is neon, which is just kind of making it glowy. And then here's the color. We have it in cool yellow. You could change this to whatever you want. Let's say you want like a red bullet. You would just type really red, or just start typing red and just choose something here. And then you just like click enter. That would change the color of your bullet, but I like cool yellow. Then the bullet is set on the player's network owner, which basically means that the bullet is the player's that fires it, which doesn't damage our player, which is awesome. Then that bullet uses body velocity to actually propel it forward. So instead of like ray casting like some games do it, we use a physical propulsion. So here's the speed. This is units per second. So how high this value is how many studs per second the bullet will fly. I like to set it at 250 because that's fast, but not fast enough to where I actually can see it. You could set this faster if you wanted to, or slower. You would just edit this value here. Now for the actual important part. Here's how the damage happens. Basically, when the bullet touches, it connects a function called hit. Right? As soon as it hits anything, it gets destroyed. If it doesn't, it will get destroyed 10 seconds later, just to not clog up the game, right? Then, if it hits something that is not player character, so something that is not you, so you can't actually shoot yourself, it will go ahead and run the hit function, which looks for if that object that is hit has a humanoid, which is literally all playing characters. They all have humanoids. So that, for example, you shoot a wall, you don't actually give damage to the wall, only the players. Now, if you do hit something that has a humanoid in it, it will look for values like if it hit the head. If we did hit the head of the character, it will take the headshot value damage. You could literally delete this and just write like 30, and it will do 30 damage for headshots. But this means that every single gun will do 30 damage, so you don't really want to do that. And then if it's not the head, if it's something else like body, legs, arms, doesn't matter, it will just do normal damage. You could add more components here if you want to do like, I don't know, separate for body, separate for arms and legs. You could just keep stacking these on, but I'm just using 2 values for now. And then you're probably wondering, hey, nighttime, why is damage being divided by 2? Basically, the reason is because Roblox kind of sucks at shooters. You see this player here, right? Where do you think its hitbox is? So hitbox is actually these like little gray lines you see here. And then the bullet is flying so fast and hits the character so fast. What actually happens is it breaks through here, registers a hit, and it breaks through the back, registering a second hit, which kind of sucks because for some reason that doesn't happen with the head, but it does happen with like the body and the arms. So basically when we shoot, if we don't divide the damage value by 2, what will happen is it will register it as a front and rear hit, which will cause it to double. So that's why we're basically just dividing the damage by 2. So yeah, that's basically how our damage system currently works. I will kind of work on it and add more to it. Also kind of important, the reason that error in the beginning was kind of a thing is it was talking about line 53, if hit parent.humanoid. Obviously, a parent and humanoid exist in the game, but when you just spawn in and shoot nothing, the game doesn't really register what a parent is yet. So that's kind of why that error popped up. We will fix it later on by just doing refreshes, but in general, yeah, it's nothing serious. The shooting system works. You could edit it to your liking, but I wouldn't recommend until we actually finish the series. If you did like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. Go ahead and comment down below for your suggestions for the next part. If you have any cool ideas, we will add like reload animations and then inspect animations, and we're gonna do the loadout menu to where you can like click like M and then select if you want certain loadouts. We'll add like game modes. But yeah, this is the shooting system. I hope you like it. Go ahead, like and subscribe. If you really like the video, you could do super thanks underneath this video to help me out a little bit. You could get premium in my Discord server to get access to all the game files with without me actually annoyingly talking to you for 30 minutes. And then yeah, I'll go ahead and see you in the next one.